Hello, guys, and welcome back. This is episode 2. You are currently Brown Girl Grinding with Loren LoRosa. So episode 2, that means we still got to clap it up. We're going to do this. Clap it up, clap it up. Everybody was asking me yesterday, who was I talking to? Because you can't hear him, but he's here. But he does not want to be on the microphone. So when you see me casually look away and talk to someone, I'm not talking to myself. It's the production team, a.k.a. me and one other person. He just doesn't want to be on the microphone. But I appreciate all of you guys for all the feedback and the love on episode 1. Continue to go to YouTube and get in our comments, ask questions, have conversations, react. But most importantly, and like what I was so excited about, yesterday when I posted the audio, we are currently live on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Within the first 20 minutes, we had 10 downloads to the podcast. And, you know, I'm new in the podcast space, but anybody that knows podcasting, the audio is really, those numbers are what really count. I appreciate all the views and as well, too. And I want you guys to keep doing that. But please make sure as you're watching, as you're telling your friends, as you're talking about us, I don't care if it's good, if it's bad, whatever. Just tell the people to make sure they download when they are listening, to subscribe so you know whenever our episodes go live every single day. We hope to be your drive home from work, to relax you, to make you have a good time. I'm the homegirl that knows a little bit about everything and everybody, so we made it a podcast. So let's get to the grind. Now, first up, last night, Beyonce celebrated her 42nd birthday in LA. Now, she was working on her birthday. I always like to say, like every year when I'm actually working on my birthday, that like I'm really an adult because I'm not somewhere with like a drink in my hand or on a beach, like I'm working. I also like to make sure that that day I'm very happy at work. I'm doing something at work that doesn't make me feel like, why do I work here? Because I think how you bring in your year on your birthday, on New Year's Eve, like I'm very superstitious and believe that like that's how your year will go. She brought in her birthday with so much love last night. There were so many different celebrities at the Beyonce concert, the Renaissance World Tour last night in LA. And she actually took some time in front of everybody. And I mean, like, when I say everybody was there, like, you had Diana Ross take the stage. You had Kendrick Lamar take the stage. We'll get into that. The Kardashians and Jenners were in the audience. There were just so many people there to celebrate Beyonce's birthday with her. But she took the time and did something that went super viral. You guys know Beyonce isn't one to really talk too much. She doesn't even do captions on her Instagram photos. But she did a very heartfelt, kind of like a thank you speech, but more like, you know, you give that speech when you're doing the toast for your birthday, and at this point you're kind of lit right before you blow out the candles. It was one of those. So we're going to take a listen, and then we'll be right back.
My heart is full. My soul is full. I'm so thankful. I'm trying not to cry. I'm thankful to be
Y'all want to join?
I'm thankful to be on the stage. I'm thankful to look out and see your faces. I'm thankful to be able to provide a safe space for all of y'all. I'm thankful for music and for the ability to heal myself through music, which then heals all of you.
So there were a few key things that Beyonce said in her thank you speech. And it was just, when I was watching it, the first time I saw it, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm still on the East Coast. We had a death in our family, and then my grandmother had a heart attack, y'all. So I've been on the East Coast just trying to like keep it together. But when I watched this speech yesterday, I was just like, wow, like life is really just so precious. And like I can tell that right now in this moment, Beyonce is in this phase of like, man, like look at God and look what God did. And I felt her on that because I think every year when you go into your birthday and you go into a new year, you're just so hopeful for things. But I think it was a good feeling for her to just kind of look at where she was at in the moment. And that's something that I'm learning to do as I get older, as I go do different things. But one of the things that really stuck out to me was, number one, she said, I'm thankful to still be here at 42. And I'm so glad that my sis did that, because the way that y'all be trying to play with Beyonce because of her age sometimes, it really makes me upset. I remember when she first had her kids and then she came back out and was like performing, there was a conversation about what should she wear, what shouldn't she wear, what dances she can do now, what is she going to continue to sell. The fact that her and Taylor Swift are on tour at the same time, there's so much comparison about Taylor Swift is younger and the numbers are this or whatever. Beyonce is Beyonce. Like, I was gonna say no shade to Taylor Swift, but all shade to Taylor Swift. Like, she could never. Like, another thing that happened last night, Diana Ross came out on stage to lead the crowd in a thank you. I mean, not a thank you, I'm sorry, a happy birthday to Beyonce. Diana Ross sung to her. And it was everything to see Beyonce. She literally ran back out on stage and you could just feel how excited she was. She ran back out on stage and everybody sings happy birthday. And she's like, this is the legendary Diana Ross. And I'm like, that's so fire. Like, who gets a happy birthday from Diana Ross? And then Kendrick Lamar popped up. He did America's Got a Problem with her. That was like a surprise performance. She also did something that a lot of people are talking about. She shouted out Destiny's Child. So she shouted out Kelly Rowland and Michelle. But then she also shouted out the 2 original members of Destiny's Child. So people are like, you know, does this mean we're going to get like a tour, which I don't think will happen. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I said this a long time ago. If this Renaissance World Tour was Beyonce's last full tour, we might get a few pop-up performances that stream places, but I just don't, I don't know. Like, this one feels different. Like, we still haven't even gotten the visuals. I know that they're coming out on a streaming platform, which is why I'm saying, or there's reports that they are, which is why I'm saying that I think Beyonce is trying to work a lot smarter and not harder, and touring takes a lot out of you, but her shouting out the original members of Destiny's Child still has Twitter in an uproar. And I think it was a really good, like, you know, just full circle moment. Like, Beyonce is still queen. She's at the point where she can kind of look over things that, you know, like, were a time in her life and just appreciate them. She also shouted out her husband, Jayz, and she said she's thankful for everything they've been through. And then she talked about turning life's lemons into lemonade. And I'm like, oh, he still get cussed out about Becky with the good hair. I could tell she still be cussing him out just a little bit, because she thankful for it. But the fact that she even brought it up, I'm like, okay. But it was a really nice moment, though. And I think this is the first time, I believe it's in like 4 years, or the second time in like 4 or 7 years that Beyonce has performed. It's one of those numbers, so one of the two, that Beyonce has performed like live on her actual birthday. So it was a treat for fans. I'm pretty bummed that I wasn't in LA, but everybody that I know that was there said that it was like just amazing. Like, I mean, I don't think that you can go see Beyonce and not feel like it's amazing. Y'all can tell I'm a part of the Beehive. But I think last night really stuck with people a little differently because it was a birthday and everybody was just there kind of, you know, wanting to be in all hell Queen Beyonce mode. So when we posted some of the videos and different things online, Kendrick Lamar performing, Diana Ross coming on stage, there were a lot of people that were responding to these videos. And a lot of people were talking about how expensive the tickets grew to be. So like, they were already expensive. You guys remember when viral how expensive they were when she first released a tour. But closer to the actual show, there are some people who wait until you buy the tickets the day of. And some people were able to find cheaper tickets. I know that was one way that people were doing it, but there were so many people who were talking about how the anticipation of Beyonce performing live on her birthday drew the ticket sales up even more, depending on who was selling them, than what they originally were when she first released them. So I just wanted to put that out there because y'all be playing with my girl, especially when Taylor Swift's on tour at the same time. But please never forget, at 42, Beyonce is still queen, has always been queen, and will always be queen, period. There's not another. So please don't shop for Shein. Please don't shop on Shein for your Beyonce tickets because you'll end up at a Taylor Swift concert. So we're going to move on to our next topic. Now, this topic, I think it's pretty interesting. My cousin Delandra is here. She doesn't have a mic on, though, so you have to talk loud when you talk. So she's going to fly back out to Texas tomorrow. So did you see the story about them grounding all of the United Airlines flights today for some time?
No.
Are you nervous about flying home tomorrow? Now that I just told you that.
No. I don't fly into that airport.
But you don't fly United? What are you flying?
Southwest.
Okay. Well, yeah, so United, for some time today, had to ground all of their outgoing flights. And this is still trending. I think a lot of people, like, it made them like nervous or scared because there were basically system issues, like tech issues. I always tell people, because I used to be a flight attendant, you'd be surprised how much goes wrong with flights, the logistics, the processes that never really get to us because they figure it out really fast. The last time I remember this happening that I can remember, when I started flying for Delta, I flew my first international trip to Amsterdam. When I got to Amsterdam, you guys remember when they grounded all of Delta's flights for like a day? Because there was a system hack and they didn't know what that hack meant. They didn't know if it was terrorists. They didn't know what was happening. So not only did they ground us for a day, but they took some extra days to figure out what was going on before they let any flights go back up. So my first flight, like internationally as a flight attendant out of the country to Amsterdam, I was stuck in Amsterdam for 7 days, which isn't a bad place to be stuck at. But you can't smoke or anything because the minute that you land from places like that, the red coats, which are the people that you work for when you're a flight attendant for Delta, they test you. But I was actually grounded in Amsterdam. And I remember all of my family calling me and like freaking out because they thought that it was like, you know, I think ever since 9/11, anything like this is always going to spark fear in people because people are like, you guys fly, like transportation in the air is supposed to be more safe than you driving a car. So people are trying to figure out, how is it that you just allow someone to like hack into your system? Like, how is it that easy? And that's pretty scary because so many people fly and trust you guys to fly. So not to scare you or anything, I just was wondering if you saw the story.
Is it going to affect other airlines too?
It's not going to affect other airlines, but there's always that worry of like, if this is happening with United and they're a major carrier, like, you know, like what is happening? Like what's going on? Are they going to target other airlines? Who is they? What is happening? Like I don't think people, you never really know fully what happens until the FAA is able to look into it and release information. So they released a statement in the beginning of everything. They said, we are experiencing a system-wide technology issue and are holding all aircrafts at their departure airports. Flights that are already airborne or continue to their destination as planned. So you can imagine being in air or in the ground, right, and getting that like message. And I think that's why people were pretty scared. And then Pete Buttigieg, who is the Secretary of Transportation, came out and said that he was aware of the nationwide ground stop due to the IT issues. He said that the FAA is currently receiving more information about the cause and the scope of the issue, and the DOT will make sure that United Airlines meets all obligations to all of the affected passengers, so anybody that missed a flight or anything like that. But you see how they didn't tell you what happened, because they need to really take some time and look into it. They have lifted the grounding, so like airlines are able to fly and all that stuff now. So that means that it couldn't have been anything too threatening, but. Yeah, this happens all the time. People just freak out, and I'm like, y'all have no idea. If you knew what happened, what could happen on airplanes and some of the stuff that they avoid, you would never take your seatbelt off. Don't take your seatbelt off.
I never do.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Turbulence can happen at any time. But flying is safe, so especially if you fly Delta. But yeah, so people are freaking out about that, and I don't even really think that is too scary. I think that people just, you know, when like something major like a 9/11 or something like that happens, that's something that the world will never get over. So anytime something happens nearly close or reminiscent of it, people instantly, you know, jump to, oh my God, is this another terrorist attack? What's about to happen? Should we not fly? My grandmom always calls me and be like, is your car full of gas? And I'm like, most of the time, no. But she's always like, because you never know what's going to happen, and you might not be able to get on a flight, so you should always keep your car full of gas. It's just like a whole thing. But no one's been hurt or anything like that, and everybody's back up in the air, so, you know, everybody's doing pretty well from what I can see.
I'll keep an eye on my flight.
I think you'll be fine. You flying Southwest? Mm-hmm. Southwest a little just iffy in general, though. So you might just want to switch. This might just not be the week though.
Right.
You might just want to switch. But how long is your flight? You're going back to Texas. How long is that from here?
It's like 2.5 hours.
How is it?
It's not long at all.
How are you guys 2 hours from here and then also 2 hours from LA? 2.5 hours from LA.
Because we're right in the middle.
Oh wow.
Look at the map, Texas, right in the middle. LA's here, LA's here, so it's the same distance in a way. So the time frame is the same.
Okay. Well, it's been a couple years since I've been in school.
We're in the central, so.
Really? I don't know why I thought you guys were a part of like the West Coast.
No, right in the middle.
Wow. Well, yeah, safe travels, everybody. Don't put no headphones on. Y'all need to listen and listen clearly. So we are going to go now to the comments and all of the tweets and the different things that I've been just receiving from all of the posts. So one of the things that I really want to make sure that I do a lot with this show is involve you guys as the audience, especially because y'all are so funny and y'all be really angry at me as well too. So I'm going to start with the angry comments first, because y'all know I just like to choose violence all the time. So first, yesterday before we got started on this podcast, I had tweeted that Black women were online embarrassing us behind this Erica Mena situation. And if you guys don't know what happened, make sure you check out like yesterday's episode. We talked about Erica Mena and Spice from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and Erica Mena calling Spice a blue monkey and then getting fired for a season from Love and Hip Hop. And people were really upset. Like when I say people were really upset, like they were really in my comments going a little crazy. So one of the comments that that I wanted to read today, just to start a conversation, because this comment comes from Chelsea Alana. And I know Chelsea in real life, but she commented and she said, I want to know what you guys think about this. She said, I just want to start a conversation. What's more embarrassing, the Black woman who allowed this to air, she's talking about Mona Scott, under her production, or the woman defending a mother who doesn't like when her teenage child is mentioned on a show that he has not asked to be a part of or to be consistently mentioned within. So that started a whole fallout of comments. I don't know how you feel about that. Like, I don't get somebody else to do it.
Yeah, get somebody.
I mean, so here's my thing. So after this comment, somebody commented and said exactly, like basically they agree. Now here's my thing. Like I said yesterday, I think that people believe that Mona Scott Young has a lot more pull power when it comes to networks than, like, yes, she's very powerful, and we look at Mona Scott Young and, you know what I mean? Like, we praise her, and some people hate her for the content and like all that stuff, right? Like, that's a whole nother conversation. But when decisions like this are being made, it's bigger than that. And one of the things I don't like, and I was having a conversation about this yesterday, was when something happens, we are so quick to go at each other, like super quick. And I think we should be able to have certain conversations, but you got to keep the same energy across the board. So for instance, when this happened yesterday with Mona Scott, or with Erica Mena and Spice, or 2 days ago, but it was still trending yesterday, the first thing that people did was they began to say, oh, Mona Scott Young is horrible. Why would she even air this? She doesn't care about Black people, whatever, whatever. Nobody once mentioned MTV. And MTV is where the show airs. And this happens often. There's a lot of times where, you know, I hear Angie from the Shade Room talk about how celebrities and people literally, like, she's lost relationships. People don't really like her. They don't care for her because of the news that she reports, the exclusives that she reports. When you have other outlets that aren't Black owned, like a TMZ or whatever, that are doing the same thing, but celebrities will go to them for interviews. They'll call them to do exclusives and drops and releases. I think we got to really start paying attention to where we're placing conversations at. And it's okay for you to feel a way toward Mona Scott Young. I'm not here to defend her or saying that you shouldn't. I don't agree with everything that comes on TV, whether it's from her or from anybody else. But I also feel like we got to learn to keep the same energy, because my point in what I posted yesterday about me feeling like Black women were online embarrassing us as a Black woman was because we are very, very quick to dismiss disrespect when it comes to ourselves and dismantle ourselves as a unit versus like banding together and like really getting something done. So if y'all issue was that this was aired, whether you were mad at Mona or whether you're mad at MTV, when I feel like the blame got to be equally placed, right? We didn't even stick together long enough to have the conversation about what should happen next. Like, if y'all really are trying to get this pool, which I don't think that y'all should, because I mean, Love and Hip Hop is not the most ratchet of the TV. There's so much more now. And there's so many other people that do this. I think if you don't like it, just don't watch it. That's how I feel personally. But if you really feel this way, I'm just always trying to figure out why there's never any forward movement. But yesterday when I watched the comments in my comment section, I'm like, oh, here's why. People are on so many different sides, and you're always going to have that. But if it's really important to us and you guys really feel like this is detrimental to where your growth is headed, your kids' growth is headed or whatever, we got to place the blame equally on a lot of different sides. It can't just be at Mona Scott Young because she looks like you and it's easier. Because there's a lot of people that will get online and say these things, but then go work for MTV. Shoot, you might even take a job with Love and Hip Hop, right? Like, you got to figure out where the blame is going to lie. And that's just how I feel, is like, keep the same energy. Then someone said in my comments, I'm not trying to hear anything like this from people that are still wearing Gucci. Hey, I can't be mad at that either. And I'm still wearing Gucci, so I can't be mad at that either. But like I said, I'm also not trying to hear anything from anybody that didn't even mention MTV in their conversation, because that's where the episode aired. And I doubt that it's been pulled. We haven't even checked if it was pulled, but I'm kind of for sure that it hasn't been because of the ratings now. Everybody's talking about it, so people want to watch it. It's the same thing kind of like with the Kyrie Irving situation. When he tweeted out that documentary that got him in all that trouble, everybody was so mad at Kyrie for tweeting it out, rightfully so. No one said anything to Amazon. It might still be up on Amazon, to be honest with you. I'm about to look it up. What was it called? No, I don't even want to go back there. It's okay. That was such a dark time in life. I'm okay. Yeah, so that was one of my comments. Another person said, no, it's not embarrassing. It's about mothers having an opinion and not being scared to say how wrong Spice was. Moms, please come and talk to me. Like, come really close, come in here. And I want us to be able to talk and disagree or agree or whatever, and not it turn into like, all the back and forth for the comments. Like, I want this to be like a very like healthy, strong, like happy hour conversation. Like when the drinks start kicking in, so you're really passionate about what you're saying, but y'all still love each other in a group chat later and y'all would do it again the next day. That's what I want this to be. Moms, can you please explain to me why what Spice said was so bad if she's not talking about the child? If you're a bad parent, or if she believes that she's a bad parent, or if the kid is reacting as if she's a bad parent, and that was a storyline on Love and Hip Hop for Erica, why can't Spice say that? We can call dads deadbeats. Why can't we call moms not good parents? So, that's from the comment section, live from the comment section. I just wanted to put these two comments out there for you guys, because I want to see how you guys are feeling about it. Like, I sometimes I'll comment back and I'll engage. Other times I just kind of watch how the conversation is going. For this, I just kind of wanted to watch how the conversation was going. But I want to hear what you guys think about that. Those are two things that I want to hear from you guys on. Number one, why is it that we are so quick to come for like a Mona Scott, and not even like a Carlos King? Shout out to Carlos King, because I love his podcast. But I will say nobody ever comes for him. It's always Mona Scott, and not these bigger networks that are not owned by people that look like us. Not that she owns the network, but you know what I mean. Like, she's a big force in this show. And then also, why can we call dads deadbeats, but we can't call moms not good mothers? And granted, I'm not saying that I believe Erica is a horrible mother. I don't know enough about her situation to say that, but I know what I saw on that show. And it didn't scream parent of the year, but at the same time, like, it's not my business. I just want to know. To me, it wasn't enough. Spice didn't say enough that warranted what was thrown back at her. So can you guys please explain to me that? Why can we say it for a deadbeat dad but not mention it for a parent? And why is what Spice said so bad if she wasn't speaking directly about the kid? She was talking about Erica's parenting skills. So that's live from the comments, and I would love to hear you guys on it, whether you're going to comment on YouTube, on Instagram, tweet about it, whatever the case may be. I would love to hear from you guys. Now we're going to go into our third segment. I really didn't, to be honest with y'all, I really didn't know what I wanted to end with, but I guess, because I feel like all of the topics are kind of like the same. It's Blueface and Chrisean again, and I wanted to leave this alone. But I was like, if it's still trending by the time I come back to Twitter, you laughing, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
What, Blueface mom?
No.
Which one what you talking about?
I was thinking about the pregnancy on live.
Oh, well, we talked about that. You think that was fun? I thought that was nice.
Okay.
You wouldn't go live if you had your baby? Well, you're not like a big like social media person anyway.
Right. So
I
That was the topic yesterday.
yeah. So as a social media person, I understand why she went live because I feel like it was just gonna boost her views and it's gonna make more people want to see. We still haven't seen the baby. It's gonna make more people want to see the baby. She knows what she's doing. She is a reality star in the day and age of having to do and work the internet, and that's what she's doing. That's what I think it was. I'm not mad at her for it. I don't know if I would necessarily go live. I probably, a smarter way to do it, would want to do like a recorded video where I can place the content in different places and I can own the content versus Instagram Live. Once you post it, it's on Instagram and it's in the world and in the internet. But like, I don't know. It's just if Instagram leaves and like what happens, like, you know, I'm just thinking smarter. But I plan on documenting my pregnancy, especially because if I got to stop drinking for 9 months, it's actually 10 months, right? It's 10 months. If I got to do 10 months with no alcohol, I need y'all there with me. Like, I really do. So I'm not against it whatsoever. But I'm talking about the fact that Blueface's mom got on Beyonce's internet and said that she is actually related to Chrisean's mother. So Chrisean and Blueface are cousins. Now, I told y'all a little bit yesterday. I really advise y'all to go listen to episode 1 if you have not already, because I really broke down yesterday just how Blueface's mom just does the most on the internet anyway. Her relationship with Blueface is not the best. She really doesn't have a relationship at all with Chrisean because they just go back and forth. And then she gets online and does this. This is exactly why she was not in that delivery room. She was watching on Instagram Live like the rest of us. What in the world? I'm just very confused. Like, why? So here's the video. I want you guys to hear Blueface's mom.
Come to find out, Chrisean mama is a Dorsey. She a Dorsey.
Oh,
They related to me. Them my people. Girl, if them Dorseys, you come on now, you know, all the Dorseys is related. And they all act like that. They all strong and act like that. John had a baby with his cousin. He did. I bet you we need to test the baby. The baby is probably...
Shut up.
That's why the baby had our DNA.
Shut the fuck up.
What the fuck? Y'all think I'm playing? This could be real.
So not only is she saying Chrisean had a baby, not only is she saying that Chrisean had a baby with her cousin, but y'all heard the little jab where she said that's why the baby has our DNA. Because Blueface was trying to claim that the baby possibly wasn't his, that Chrisean was sleeping with other people. My phone is just going off. I don't know why everybody wants to call me right now. Blueface was basically claiming that Chrisean was sleeping with a bunch of other guys after like things got sour with them. So he didn't believe the baby was his. But he got online this morning and said he is fearful for his son, and Chrisean, that was a last minute name decision by naming the baby after herself, which I thought was actually cute. And that he just wants to make things right because there's a baby involved. I can't do him, so I ignored him since early this morning. But the mama, first of all, Black people, like all my white people that are watching, y'all know y'all are welcome in this space as well too, but y'all not gonna understand this part of what I'm about to say. Black people, everybody with the same last name is not related. Like, I want y'all to understand that. And maybe somewhere, somehow, because, you know, we went through a lot to get here. And, you know, our history isn't documented as much. Maybe there's something somewhere. Shoot, we might all be related at some point, some way, somehow. But I hate that we do that to us. Like, I could literally be in, like, North Dakota and be like, oh, yeah, like, my first name's Loren, my last name's Boyd. And somebody be like, I went to school with a Sarah Boyd. You know her? Is that your cousin in North Dakota? No, I don't. Like, they won't believe me because I don't know what it is that makes Black people think that just because your last name is the same, the blood is the same as well, too. It's not always like that. It is not. And then if you really thought that y'all were related, why wouldn't you figure this out a bit more before you got online to say this? She's reaching, she's trolling. People in the background of the car are like, shut up. Like, they don't even want to believe her. Like, they're basically like, girl, you're doing too much right now. You are. And Blueface's mom is so beautiful. I don't understand why she gets online and does this stuff. This is your grandchild. So basically you're saying that there was incest. So if I was Chrisean, I'd be a little bit nervous about now when I send my baby with his grandma. Am I even going to send my baby with his grandma? I don't know what folktale she going to be telling him. Seriously, and then I don't know where Blueface is from. I'm assuming he's from LA, but I feel like black people in the country is even worse because they truly, you can't tell black people in the country they're not all related if they got the same last name. It just don't work like that because normally they are. Like, you know, then they all live in the same areas and stuff like that. Like I have a lot of family like that. Like I used to go to Virginia with my grandma. We would go see the Boyds. The Boyds all live in a certain part of Halifax, Virginia. We would go see the Tuckers. The Tuckers are all over here in another part. It's about 2 roads apart. And that's how they met, my grandmother and my grandfather. Like, it just used to be that way. But in today's time, we got 23andMe. We got a lot of different things where she could have figured this out before she got online. It's just embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And I think it's even more embarrassing because Blueface and Chrisean are so crazy. I think people actually would believe it. That's the even sadder part. But, I'm just... I'm just pretty much over it. And like social media is eating this up. So she knew what she was doing. The fact that Chrisean's baby is called Chrisean Jr. is kind of crazy. Like it is kind of crazy. Like I'm just going down my timeline and people are laughing at Chrisean Jr. as a name. And it is kind of crazy. But that has been, you know, all the top topics for today, guys. That is the Brown Girl Grinding with Loren LoRosa today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we are currently on iHeart Radio and we are on Spotify, so go and listen to us there. We appreciate you guys for watching as well too, but you're driving in your car and you need a listen on your way home from work, we are your go-to. It's been a good day Brown Girl Grinding with y'all. I'm the homegirl that knows a little bit about everything and everybody, so I made it a podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in. Tell a friend about Brown Girl Grinding with Loren LoRosa. And make sure you guys get back in the comments. I don't care if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, I want you guys to get in the comments, talk back to me. The questions that I asked y'all earlier, I do want to hear y'all on. Y'all know I'm always here for it, and y'all know what I always say. Just make sure you at me when you talking your shit. See you guys later.